The D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals sent shockwaves through Washington with a recent decision. The court ruled that President Trump can fire members of independent agencies. This overturned a lower court's decision. The ruling has ignited debate about presidential power. These agencies play a crucial role in governance. They oversee labor, financial markets, and consumer protection. Supporters say it reaffirms executive powers. They believe it aligns with the Constitution. Critics argue it undermines agency independence. They fear political interference. This ruling is part of a long-running battle over power. The outcome has profound implications for democracy. The decision is certain to face further legal challenges. It is likely to end up before the Supreme Court. At the heart of this legal battle are two individuals, Gwen Wilcox and Kathy Harris. Wilcox served on the National Labor Relations Board, while Harris served on the Merit Systems Protection Board. Both were appointed by previous administrations, and both are Democrats. These agencies are tasked with handling workplace complaints. President Trump fired Wilcox in January 2025. He fired Harris shortly after in February. The president gave no specific reason for their dismissals, which immediately raised concerns about potential political motivations. Critics argued that Trump was attempting to stack these independent agencies with loyalists. Wilcox and Harris challenged their removals in court. A lower court ruled in their favor, finding that the president did not have the authority to fire them without cause. This decision was a victory for proponents of independent agencies. However, the Trump administration appealed the ruling, setting the stage for the D.C. Circuit Court's landmark decision. The case of Wilcox and Harris is not merely about two individuals. It is about the very nature of independent agencies. Judge Justin Walker authored the majority opinion in the D.C. Circuit Court's 2-1 decision. Walker argued that the restrictions on the president's removal power were unconstitutional. He based his argument on Article 2 of the Constitution, which vests the entire executive power in the president. Walker interpreted this to mean that the president has unfettered authority to remove executive branch officials, including those serving on independent agencies. Critics argued that it ignores the historical context surrounding the creation of independent agencies. They point out that the Founding Fathers intended for certain government functions to be carried out free from political interference. The Constitution does not explicitly address the president's power to remove officials from independent agencies. This ambiguity has led to conflicting interpretations over the years. Judge Walker's decision is likely to further fuel the debate over presidential power. It remains to be seen how this interpretation will be applied in future cases. Section 4. Challenging a legacy Humphreys executor. The D.C. Circuit Court's ruling challenges a landmark Supreme Court decision. In 1935, President Roosevelt tried to remove William Humphrey from the FTC. Humphrey, a conservative, clashed with Roosevelt's New Deal. The Supreme Court ruled against Roosevelt. It upheld protections for FTC commissioners. This decision established a crucial precedent. It affirmed the constitutionality of independent agencies. The D.C. Circuit Court's recent ruling undermines this legacy. It expands the president's removal power, eroding protections. Section 5. A shadow over independent agencies. The implications of the D.C. Circuit Court's ruling extend far beyond the NLRB and the Merit Systems Protection Board. The decision could impact a wide range of independent agencies. These include the Federal Reserve, the Securities and Exchange Commission, or SEC, and the Federal Communications Commission, or FCC. These agencies play a critical role in regulating the economy, financial markets, and the media. The potential for political interference in these agencies has raised serious concerns among legal experts. A group of law professors filed an amicus brief in the case. They argued that the president's unrestricted removal power would allow him to manipulate these agencies for political gain. This could have disastrous consequences for the economy, national security, and the rule of law. The independence of these agencies is crucial for several reasons. It ensures that they can make decisions based on expert judgment. It frees them from political pressure. The D.C. Circuit Court's ruling threatens to undermine these safeguards. It remains to be seen how the Supreme Court will ultimately rule on this issue. However, the D.C. Circuit Court's decision serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of these institutions.